I've been dragging around for 41 years.
Okay, this is the last stop on your tour. What you have seen so far is a lot of background things. All right, now we get down to the battle itself. Remember Otis told you about Sherman coming down to Savannah. Sherman came from Savannah to Columbia. This is called the Carolinas Campaign. If you're interested in this, the South Carolina Confederate Relic Room and Military Museum has a brand new exhibit on that, and it is good. I mean, it's very, very good. And you can see he went on up into Averysboro. I've been there, Monroe's Crossroads, Bentonville, and actually finally surrendered somewhere around Raleigh. Okay. This is the timeline of the battle. This is just one day, February 15th, 1865. Remember Otis told you it was raining, wet, muddy, cold. It rained 28 days out of the first 45 days. The Union forces were coming up this road. This is the state road, the old state road. This is one of the roads that Sherman had to get on because of his wagons and cannon and things like that, because it's been raining for 28 days. They couldn't get out in the field. They couldn't do anything basically except come up the road. This road supposedly goes from Kiowee Indian Village up in the upper part of the state all the way to Charleston. That's what I've been told. I haven't driven that, I don't know, but that's what we've been told, and we think that's probably true. What happened was on February the 15th, around 7 o'clock in the morning, the 15th Army Corps moved out. They had been camped somewhere in the Sandy Run Post Office vicinity. And in the lead of the 15th Army Corps was the 1st Division. We're going to talk about the 1st Division and the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Brigades of that division, and that's basically it. That's basically all that was involved in this small battle. So they start out about 7 o'clock. Immediately they run into the Confederate cavalry pickets that were very close to them, the 9th Kentucky Cavalry. The cavalry skirmishing with them, causing them to deploy, causing them to delay, and they do that from there all the way to here basically. It takes them almost 3 hours to get here. You got to remember, this is 1865. These guys are veterans. They're not in any hurry to walk into something. All right, so they knew what was going on, but they still had to deploy. They didn't know what was up here. So about 10 o'clock, they finally get within sight of the Confederate earthworks. And you saw a picture of the earthworks a while ago, okay? What happens is General Wood, who is the First Division commander, decides that no more than he can see or no more than he can visualize, he doesn't need anybody else. So he's going to deploy his division. His division is comprised of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Brigade. What he does is he asks the 1st Brigade to stand fast on the state road or in the vicinity of the state road to hold the Confederates in place. He sends his 2nd Brigade to his right, the Confederate left, trying to turn the flank. Remember, they don't know what's over there. He sends the 3rd Brigade to his left, the Confederate right, as Otis was talking about a while ago, to find the end of that flank. That was common practice in 1865 for attacking an earthwork or a fortified position. In front of us, probably maybe 100 yards or maybe not that far, was what the Confederates had set up, was called a tete de pont, which means point of the spear. It was a temporary breastworks made of logs, made of trees. It wasn't an earthwork like we had back here. The DeBrill's cavalry was in that earthwork, and they supposedly had 2 cannon there. And what that did was, what that did was, it actually projected out like a salient, like this from the line, and it caused the Union forces to deploy. But also it gave them fields of fire that you didn't have back here behind the earthworks.
You want the painting?
Yeah, the painting. Okay. This is the tete de pont. See this area right in here? This gray area right in there? That's the tete de pont. The earthworks are back here. Okay. All right. So the 2nd Brigade tries to turn the Confederate left flank. They run into the Congaree River, which is flooded. They can't turn it that way. They tried to cross Congaree Creek. Remember, it was flooded, so they couldn't get across there. 46th Ohio was a Union regiment in that brigade. They were armed with the Spencer repeating rifle that held 7 shots. Remember, Autumn was telling you about that. 3rd Brigade is on its way around. About 2 o'clock, the 46th Ohio comes across in front of the 1st Brigade and attacks the Tete de Pont. About that same time, somewhere between 2 and 2:30, the 3rd Brigade actually turns the Confederate flank, which meant they got behind the Confederate earthworks. So this is happening almost simultaneously, okay? As the 46th Ohio comes across here and the Confederates are flanked over there, DeBrill's cavalry gets word that he has to retreat because they may be cut off. So his soldiers, his cavalry, retreats back across the bridge. As they're retreating back across the bridge, they attempt to set the bridge on fire. Now, why won't the bridge burn? It's wet, okay? I mean, it's wet. Remember, it's been raining 28 days. In some accounts, it says the actual Congaree Creek was over the bridge. Now, if you look at the bridge, that's not where the bridge was then. Look, consider it about 10 to 15 feet lower than that at road level. Okay. It wouldn't burn. So the 46th Ohio attacks the bridge while the Confederates are retreating. They put the fire out. It takes them about 10 to 15 minutes to repair what damage there was. While that's still going on, remember, the 3rd Brigade has now turned the Confederate line, so the Confederates are now actually retreating. And if we,
They got behind them.
yeah, let me see. That's not it. That's not it. This is it right here. This is what I'll show you. Yes. Wait a minute, I got to get it straight first. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Here's the 40. This is the right flank of the Union. Left flank. This is the 46th Ohio attacking the Tete de Pont, crossing the bridge, and that's basically what happens about 14:30, around 1400. As I said before, this is the 3rd Brigade moving up here. When the 3rd Brigade commander found the end of the Confederate lines, he said that he broke his regiments down, and the 4th Iowa was told cross the creek. Remember, they crossed on logs. Turn the Confederate line, but wait for the rest of the brigade to get there. So he had to leave at least 2 more regiments to get across. Why did he want everybody across? So that he could capture the Confederates, probably, because he had them outnumbered with 1 brigade, remember? All right? But instead of waiting, the 4th Iowa attacked the Confederates, which alerted the Confederates and said, uh-oh, somebody's in our rear, we need to get out of here. And so that's how the word got down. DeBrill retreated back and went on up this way. And as they were retreating up the road, the Union finally got some artillery up, and they shelled them with about 30 rounds as the Confederates were retreating back up that way. The Confederates had prepared a final defensive line up there somewhere where the Granby Quarry is, and that's where the Union actually spent the night. The Confederates didn't stop there; they went on into Columbia. All right. Somebody asked about casualties a while ago. How many casualties do you think there were on the Union side? Somebody give me a number. 20?
Less than 100. Less than 100, I think.
How about 12? 5 killed and 7 wounded. Now remember, this is 1865. They're not lined up shoulder to shoulder anymore like they were in 1861. These guys know the war's about over with. They're not in a hurry to get shot. Besides that, the Confederates didn't have between 15 to 2,000 men on the other side. And most of those were not frontline troops. As